Hi everybody. So, there's been a few times where I've seen on social media where they have this question about a TED Talk. They say, if you were giving a TED Talk, what would you talk about? And so, my answer is that I would talk about the subconscious mind, or just the mind in general, but specifically the subconscious mind. Um, so most of my life, when I had heard the word subconscious, I had just heard like, oh, subconsciously they wanted to do that or didn't want to do that, or I hadn't really heard the word very much, and I didn't know what it meant and what it was for, and how you could access it. And so I guess I'd just like to talk about the mind. So we have the conscious part of our mind, which is our like rational willpower, um, like when we're very much active and awake, that's the part of our mind that we're using. And when we like, I don't know, cram for a test and then take the test on the same day, we can remember a lot of the stuff. The subconscious mind is it's a little different. Like when people use it in a sentence, it's basically they're saying that it's sort of unaware, like it's sort of in the background, that we didn't like do it on purpose, it just sort of happened. So some examples of the subconscious mind in action would be, um, well, for example, when I was teaching my daughters how to drive, I just noticed how they were very much in their conscious minds at first when they were starting to drive, like paying attention to every little detail, um, and just very aware and conscious. And but after a while, like after a few months of practicing driving, it all got to be sort of subconscious, so they could get from point A to point B without thinking through everything so intensely. Like just, you know how you automatically know when the light turns green you go, or if there's people there you wait, or all the different things about driving. And I mean that's just how our mind works. Like it's like a memory thing. So there's a lot I could say about the subconscious mind, and I don't have like notes or a PowerPoint here, so I'm just saying what comes to mind. Um, so another thing that comes to mind when I think about the subconscious mind is that our brain waves are different when you access the subconscious mind. So when you're in your conscious mind, your brain waves are on a different frequency, a more active frequency. And your brain waves really have to slow down, and you have to be like relaxed and focused in order to access your subconscious mind. And when you do, there's a whole world of memories in there that can be recalled, and it's just really fascinating, especially using it with therapy, because the subconscious mind communicates in metaphors and stories and symbols. That's why when I was a kid, I went to church, and when the pastor told stories, I remembered them when I got home. But all the little facts and figures and details, like that sort of thing, I didn't remember those things. And I just find it fascinating how metaphor and story, how it can access the subconscious mind, and how it helps with memory. I don't know if you've heard of this thing called the memory palace. I've been studying about the memory palace, and people with really good memories use that trick. Like I saw it on Netflix, one of those shows about the mind. Um, yeah, it's fascinating. So I'm a hypnotherapist, so when I do therapy with people, first we talk like regular talk therapy a little bit to get to know the issue that they're working on. And then in order to get them into their subconscious mind so they can access all of these repressed things for healing, I take them into their imagination. Like first we relax their body one part at a time, called the body scan. If you've done meditations, I'm sure you're familiar with that. And then we go into more of an imagery. So I like to have them go down a hill, and relax their body as they're going down the hill. And they can go down the hill however they imagine. And at the bottom of the hill, they can create their safe place, sort of a sanctuary of sorts. And from there, like, everyone's looks different. And so I like to be very vague in my questions and my suggestions so that they can sort of create their own landscape and discover their own metaphors for the blocks that they have in their life, and then how you can really transform them and heal them through the subconscious work. So the whole therapy appointment, I just had one this evening with a client. It was 2 hours long. It was so incredible to see this shift. We did something called IFS parts therapy, and so we were accessing these different sort of protective parts that were sort of distracting my client from feeling that pain of his inner child. And so once we were able to talk to the protective parts and reassure them, we were able to really get in touch with that inner child part. And he got to tell his inner child everything he needed to hear back then when he was a kid. So much self-worth, like from his wise self now, he was able to talk to his own inner child as if he was talking to his own child, just telling them how worthy, like how worthy a young child is. And then there was some concerned parts too that were concerned, and how he reassured. I just gave some suggestions on what he could possibly, I would ask questions like, what does he want to do? What does he need? Those kinds of things. It was such a beautiful process. So, yeah, that's the only word I could describe it, was beautiful. Like when a client comes in and they have this issue that is really bothering their life, and then you can see it on their face when there's that shift, when they really feel that worth, and they feel that healing, and they feel like that light. It's incredible. And then at the end of the session that we had this evening, we did some sort of future pacing, if you will. So just watching the movie of his life in the future, how it was going to be different now, because the protectors that he had were transformed into allies to help him. And he had this imaginary conference room table, and bringing in advisors and allies. It was so amazing. He could ask them for advice, and they would give him advice, but at the end of the day, he was at the head of the table, and he was in charge, and the protectors in his life were not, running the show anymore. So, yeah, I was just feeling so excited about it. I just wanted to come on and share a little bit about hypnotherapy, the subconscious mind, how we can use metaphor in therapy to really access those deep parts of ourselves where the conscious mind can try, but it doesn't really, the subconscious mind doesn't really get the memo until we can do some of this inner child work. What else can I say about the subconscious mind? Probably a lot, but the most important thing to know about the subconscious mind is that it's always running the show. It's always in charge. It's like the emotions of our body. So people wonder, why can't I do what I set out to do? Or why do I have these habits? And it's because emotions always win. They seem to always win. Whatever you feel most passionate about or most strongly about, that's what seems to win. And so when we can really go inside and access those emotions and release what's not serving us, and keep what what is serving us and can shift to more helpful thoughts and ideas. It's very transformative. All right, so thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and see you next time.